Hello, teachers. I'm sure you're working very hard to help your students. Today, I want to introduce you to a new activity that you might use in your language classrooms. How to create logic grid puzzles for communicative language learning activities. My name is Gavin Young. First of all, I want to say hello to my friends in Morocco and also in Guinea and in Egypt. And I want to say hello to my new friends. Thank you. All right, let's get started. First of all, step one, we want to create a logic grid puzzle. And number one is draw a grid. And here on the screen you can see a simple 4 by 4 grid. You can do this on a computer or simply on paper with a pen or pencil. So step one, just make a simple grid like this. Next, step two, we want to make up a scenario, a situation. And I decided my scenario will be an ice cream shop. And because I think everybody in the world loves ice cream. To start, you'll want to pick 4 categories. I chose name of the students, name of the children, flavor of ice cream, cone or cup. Some people eat ice cream in a cone. Some people like to eat it in a cup with a spoon. And my final category is a single scoop of ice cream or a double scoop of ice cream. And what I did, I penciled, or in this case, I typed the categories into the top row. Okay, so these are the top row contains my categories. Okay, so I have a scenario. Next, step 3, step 3, I want to assign values. What does that mean? It means you want to add information into each category. So fill in each box under each category. So I have 3 children. Their names are Diego, Sarah, and Ahmed. I have 3 flavors, vanilla, strawberry, and chocolate. One person had a cone, another person had a cone, and one person had a cup of ice cream. And one person had a double scoop, and 2 people had a single scoop of ice cream. So I assigned values under each category. All right. Next, step 4. Now comes the little bit harder part. Now we have your grid, which is filled in. So you have a value for each box. Now we want to work backward. We want to write clues for students in your classrooms to read. So we want to work backward and create clues or statements that will allow your students in their groups to deduce or guess the entries, values under each category. So we want to write a variety of statements. You don't have to for lower level students. You might have one style of statement, but let me show you some examples. You can have a variety of statements. You can have a positive statement, a negative statement. You can interrelate the different parts of the grid, neither nor statements. And you can also add redundant clues are helpful because it helps students solve the puzzle more easily. For example, one statement students may not understand, so if you have a redundant clue, it helps students finish the activity. And if you have higher level students, you can also add irrelevant, unimportant, unconnected statements. That can be a little bit fun. It causes the students to read more carefully. It can also be something fun. Okay, so that's step 4. We want to write the clues for students to read. And here, as I said, I have written a variety of statements. Okay, now we're going to continue a little longer on step 4. Now, you might have a group of students, maybe 2 students, 3 students, or 4 students in a group. Now, for me, in this example, I plan to have a group of 4 students. So I have my clues, my statements, and now I want to separate the clues into 4 parts for my 4 students. And I want to be sure that all the clues are spread evenly. I don't want one student to have all the best clues. I want to have a variety of clues for each student. Some easy, some maybe a little difficult. So again, I want to separate the clues, the statements, into 4 parts. And here is an example of what I did. So partner A, partner B, partner C, and partner D. And I have some instructions on top asking students to read twice and to speak loudly. And in this case, each student has five clues. See? And I will talk later about what to do about copies for students. I understand that many people may not be able to make photocopies. So I will talk about this later in the video. So this is step 4. I have clues for each member of a group. And next I'm going to go to step 5. Now, you have spent a lot of time to make a grid, to enter the values, to write the clues. Now, this part 5 is very important because you need to check your puzzle. You need to test it to see if it will work for students. And this is a great chance for you to edit your puzzle, to double check and to also edit and to find any mistakes. So you want to, part A, step A, you want to test solve the puzzle to make sure a puzzle works. And you can use a spell checker, a human, a friend, another teacher, your spouse, husband or wife, to help you check and reduce the number of typos, mistakes in your document. This is a great chance to catch your mistakes. So here I have a grid, and I've already added the names, Diego, Sarah, and Ahmed, and you can go through the clues and fill in the blanks as if you were a student. And you can double check your clues and statements. Okay, step 6. Now you have created a grid, you have added the values, and you have created the clues, and you have separated them into different parts. So now you want to prepare a handout for students in class, and then you want to print out the materials. So as I said, you have tested your puzzle. Now create a class handout. That is an empty grid with instructions and a list of the categories and possible entries. I will show it to you now, my example. All right, so here is an example of my grid sheet. It's just the title of the activity with a little bit of some information. 3 friends went to an ice cream shop, find out what they ordered. And here you want to tell the students the general information. You want to tell your students about the different categories and the values that are possible. So you will tell your language learning students, there are 3 students, there are 3 flavors, 2 people had a cone, 1 person had a cup of ice cream, and 1 person had a double scoop, and 2 people had single scoops. So you want to have general information, and then some simple instructions. Here, the instructions are in English, but you might want to use them in your native language. I tell each student that they have a different fact sheet or clue sheet. Don't show your fact sheet to your partners. Share information slowly and fill in the empty boxes below. So here is my empty grid for students to fill in. And I have given the students 1 clue. I have embedded, or I have included 1 clue for everyone to know. that Diego ordered vanilla ice cream. And this helps the students to solve the puzzle. It's a place for students to start. And of course, I want to print this out for my students, if possible. And I want to print out the clue sheet, or fact sheet as I call it. So I want to make sure each student has one part. Now, I want to talk now about adapting the activity. I understand that not every classroom has the same equipment or resources, so I want to talk about how to adapt the activity. Now, because it may be difficult to make copies, the fact sheets and handout can be shared electronically and read by students on a smartphone or tablet. That's one possible option. A teacher could also write the clues beforehand on a whiteboard or blackboard and first have students copy the fact sheet clues into their notebooks. This will take some extra time for students to copy. Students could also copy the handout, as I showed you above. They could copy that into their notebooks also. Another way to save paper, a teacher could partner two students together to share one handout, and these students could take turns reading the clues while one student is writing the answer in the grid. Another way to save paper, a teacher could also write the clues on poster paper, whiteboard, blackboard. Students would have to go to the paper to get a clue and return to the group. So this is very similar to an activity called running dictation. So students stand up, go to the blackboard or whiteboard or poster, get information, and then bring it back to the group. And there's a very nice YouTube video that explains about how to do a running dictation. It's important to know that for lower level students, the items in the clue sheet could be put in order. You could number them. So one student will read number 1, another student number 2, number 3, and number 4. So they follow the numbers, and if they follow the numbers carefully, they will solve the puzzle. This is a very good way to teach lower level students or introduce the activity. For the first time, students might find it easier to follow the numbers. And of course, depending on your class, everything can be shortened, lengthened, simplified, or complicated, and the vocabulary can be customized and modified for your classroom. Now, I realize that teachers everywhere are so busy. We are busy people, so finding time to make puzzles is a little hard, but having students make their own puzzles to share with their classmates could be a very natural next step, and it will provide extra chances for meaningful language practice and creativity for your students. And you can keep them. You can stockpile your students' puzzles and use them in your future classes. It's a great way to gather puzzles. Now, I realize that maybe you don't have experience making puzzles, so for those teachers who might have limited time, and creating logic puzzles is a great activity to do as a group as part of a workshop or regularly scheduled meetings. Teachers might collaborate to create puzzles and clues, and then you can check each other's puzzles for mistakes, and then make copies so that teachers would have many different puzzles to use in their classrooms. Okay, I'm going to stop here. Please, if you have any questions or comments or some experience with puzzles, please share them below in the comments section. I realize that I can learn so much from hearing your advice about doing these puzzles. Okay, thank you very much. Goodbye.